Well, look-a here. Guess who's number one in the Nielsen ratings again?
Make 97.7 The Morning Dish.
Today's Morning Dish is delivered by your hometown Sears store in Blairsville. There's always a friends and family sales event on the horizon, and Sears Blairsville loves rolling out the discounts on lawnmowers, refrigerators, and washing machines, not to mention sponsoring the Morning Dish.
Alrighty, folks, like I told you, I'm excited to know we have been tracking this guy now for a long time. But anyway, Band of Heathens, I know y'all know that. We have got Ed Jurdi with us. Good morning. How are you, brother?
Doing good, Steven. How you doing, man?
But, are you kidding? I mean, I know you can see. We have got a whole box of mini cinnamon rolls from Aunt Pearl's porch left to us this morning. And so this is a good day.
I didn't know that. You're in a much better position than I am.
I'll send you one. I'll mail you one.
Cool, man. I appreciate it.
We can do it overnight, man. You've been wide open. I've been trying to track you down, get you on the show, and you've been all over the place. Y'all playing everywhere. But now you're not only the Band of Heathens, which is, I love the band, but Trigger Hippie. This is your thing too? You're a Trigger Hippie?
Yeah, it's a little project. It was started by Steve Gorman, who's the drummer in the Black Crowes for a number of years, and Nick Goverick, a great bass player in Nashville. And they sort of had the project maybe like 8 or 10 years now with a few different lineups. And this is the most sort of recent iteration of the band. We put a record out, I guess, in 2019, the fall of 2019, which I think for a lot of people seems like 10 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, and we've done some shows with that, so that's a lot of fun. That's a great rock and roll band as well, too.
So you're on top of that. Then with the Band of Heathens, y'all are rocking and roll. I love the Band of Heathens. I love your music that y'all put out, and been following y'all for a long time. But now you're actually one of the founding members, right?
Mm-hmm. I've been there since the beginning. Yeah, it all started as a little club in Austin called Momo's.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, there was a bunch of. Really, it came together as almost like a song swap. It was myself and Gordy Quist, who's still in the band, another founding member, and then a couple of other songwriters. And we sort of, the big thing in Austin really is, the goal is to get a residency, which means you play at the same club every week at the same time. That's kind of the best way to build a following there. And there was like 4 of us. We each had a time slot, like 9, 10, 11, 12.
Mm-hmm.
Doing our own material individually, but we were always jumping up and sitting in with each other and collaborating and stuff like that. And at some point someone said, hey, why don't we just, instead of each of us paying our own band, why don't we use the same drummer and bass player? Why don't we just be each other's band and
make some money? Yeah.
Doing a lot of singing and playing together. So that was kind of how it started. It really was something real loose and just a fun thing. There was really no design for it to become a band, obviously, and last is 16, 17 years at this point, like it has. So happy accident in a way. But I think the other thing, there was a recognition pretty early on when we started collaborating and singing together that there was something kind of magical going on. So it was good on everyone to sort of recognize that and be able to put aside some of our own individual ego and aspirations to be able to do something kind of greater collectively.
Well, now there's always one in the band that can't put the ego. We always know there's one. There's always got to be one. But so now, I mean, everybody in the band is a songwriter, and
Yeah.
I guess that's one of the reasons that the music is so good. I mean, I don't know if it's not country. It's really not what you call rock and roll. I call it greasy rock and roll. You think that fits? I mean,
yeah, that's cool. I think what I think it is. I mean, for me at least, it's really mostly the music that I grew up on.
Right.
I think it's like if you listen to the radio in the 60s and 70s, I think that's where the band, that's where our influences lie, and I think that's sort of what we manifest in a modern way, I guess. We're certainly not trying to make the music of our parents' generation or the music that we grew up listening to, but that certainly has influenced and informed how we approach making music. You know what I mean?
well, that's the thing, of course, Nashville, everybody wants to go to Nashville. With the stuff that's coming out of Nashville right now, to me, don't hit me at all. But the stuff coming out of Texas, I mean, and y'all are from Texas, and I mean, to me, that's where the music's at right now in Texas. And
well, it's kind of been that way forever, really. I mean, and this isn't to say that there's not a lot of great music coming out of Nashville, because there is, and I have a lot of friends that make great music there. But Texas is really a place where music's a very natural thing, and there really hasn't ever been any sort of outside influence from the industry or the business, and people, musicians and artists feeling pressure to somehow conform to that. So from forever, Texas has been a place that has a really high musical IQ. Music is really a big part of the culture there. In a lot of places it starts in the church. But other than, I mean, really the church and the honky tonk. So you have sort of great mixing of things and styles where, you have the South kind of meets the West. So you've got everything from blues to country to Texas swing music. Yeah, it really is. It's really a great place for music.
Right.
I mean, it's certainly something that it was palpable. As soon as I got there, I recognized it.
Now, folks, y'all that's just tuning in, we're talking to Ed Jurdi from the Band of Heathens, and he's got a lot of other stuff going on, so y'all can tune into that. Just go to their website, the Band of Heathens. You cannot miss it. Ed Jurdi, great guy, no doubt about it. But anyway, now let me ask you this question. You talking about church. Did you start, actually your music influence, did it start at church? Is that where you kind of got started out?
A little bit for me. I mean, I think in a different way. I grew up in a different part of the country, so it wasn't necessarily the kind of music like for me. Always like Southern music and gospel music was always a music that I can enjoy listening to, aside from it having spiritual value to people.
Right.
The church I grew up in was was a lot less fun and a lot less sort of had like less of a celebratory kind of sense in the music. But yeah, I mean, there was definitely music in church, but honestly, for me, even before that, I mean, music was something that started probably before I could walk or talk. I just all of my earliest memories are music, of playing music with my dad and hanging out and listening to records and all that kind of stuff. So it all seeped in there.
But you said talking about not doing your parents' music or that kind of stuff. Y'all actually did a cover, I guess a cover, but y'all did I'd say a tribute to Ray Charles. That's a heck of an album.
Yeah, definitely a tribute. You know what it was? It was a record that's it's in print as far as I think you can get the record somewhere, but the record was never released digitally, which is kind of where everyone's listening to music. And I think it was just at a time where we were talking a lot as a band, not that this has really resolved itself, or maybe it never will, but it was just a time where it seemed like there was a lot of conflict, in the country and amongst just people, the way people were talking to each other, like kind of inability to agree and see each other's sides of things. And this record's really cool. It's from 1972, but it really was incredibly relevant still. I think in 2018 or 19 when we put it out. Really just sort of a celebration of a lot of great things about America, but also sort of asking the questions of how can we be better and deliver on the promise of what I think most of us want this country to be.
I know it seems like everybody just gets mad at anything anymore, but now I am a big Ray Charles fan, and that
yeah.
I mean, y'all really manned up on that. And then Hurricane, of course, I love the band, and y'all have been kind of compared to the band over the years. But I'm gonna tell you, I love that group, and no doubt. But now, how did you come up with Band of Heathens? I've been called a hoodlum a couple of times, but yeah, how that goes.
In Texas, there's that sort of, and it's sort of, I think it came out of the church again, maybe in sort of an ingest kind of way, like they all, I mean, the way they say it down there is like heathens,
Yeah.
It's got an R in it, right? But and that was kind of it, the people that kind of spent a little more time in the clubs and in the nighttime and away from the daylight. But it actually came about. We were originally calling the thing the Good Time Supper Club because, like I said, it was sort of like a round table sort of setup the way we were playing. There's four of us and the kind of songs were getting passed around. So it was kind of a relaxed sort of, almost like a social drinking club was
Right.
kind of the mantra of the show. And at some point, I don't know, we've got to narrow it down to a couple people. I'm not exactly sure who, but they put a press release out and made a poster up that said, this Wednesday night at Momo's, the Heathens. And then from there on, it just kind of stuck. Everyone started calling us that, and we kind of liked it. And then for legal reasons, the Band of got tacked on to the front of it because there was someone had already copyrighted the Heathens.
Right.
And there you go. So here we are.
Well, it's a great name. Ain't no doubt, the Band of Heathens. And but now, did y'all not just not recently release a new song with Ray Wiley Hubbard?
We did, actually. So we put a song out with Ray Wiley Hubbard last month called Papa Was a Rolling Stone, which is a cover of the old Temptations song.
Yes, it is.
In fact, we actually just dropped a new single this morning.
Right.
With our friend Nikki Bloom, who's in Nashville. song called Tumbling Dice by the Rolling Stones.
Oh yeah.
And these singles are all part of a release that's going to be coming out in February called Remote Transmissions, Volume 1, which was basically we during the pandemic we started a live stream show, and one of the segments in the show was called Remote Transmissions, where basically every week we would pick a new cover song and we had a guest and we would remotely record the song and produce it and make a video for it every week. So this is sort of we went back and kind of remixed these songs and put a little package together for it, which will be coming out early next year, like I said. But yeah, we're really excited about it, you know. And the song out today, "Tumbling Dice," it's great old Rolling Stones rock and roll song, and with Nikki singing on it, it's real cool. Good, it's a good ride.
With y'all's rhythm section, which makes it y'all's sound. I love the sound and I love the music. Y'all, we're talking. Just go to the bandofheathens.com. You can keep up with him, and that's great that you're releasing that. Now, y'all still doing the live thing on Facebook like that, or is that something that?
Yeah, we're kind of doing one a month, usually publicly, but we've really transitioned most of that to a platform called Patreon. I'm not sure if you've heard that or you're familiar with it.
Yes.
Basically, a place where where fans can support a band directly. You know, and what's great about Patreon for us is it's allowed us to just have more creative output. You know, it's basically through Patreon we're releasing a new unreleased song every month to the people that are members of the Patreon club, the Good Time Supper Club.
Right.
We're doing a live stream for them every month, and there's just a lot of additional behind the scenes sort of access. It's a great way for independent bands to be able to kind of cut out the middleman altogether, and and it's a great way for fans to sort of directly support the music that they love and get more of it in a real sort of unvarnished way, which has been really fun for us.
Well, I think that's great, and the reason I say that is because a lot of time when you do get the lawyers and the record labels and all that, and they're like, no, you can't do this song and you can't do that, and there's a lot of great songs that gets left on the table that should have been released, and so this gives y'all the freedom to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in essence, we've been independent since we started, so we haven't really encountered a lot of resistance with that. But what this really does is it sort of allows us to do the work that we need to do without having to worry necessarily about the immediate finances of it,
Right.
And that's honestly the hurdle for most creative endeavors, and we're fortunate enough that we have a great fan base that's interested in what we're doing and that wants to hear more of our music. So they're happy to sort of be a part of this community with us, which is great.
Covering Papa Was a Rolling Stone, that's a pretty big step. I mean, no doubt. That's a.
Well, you know what it was? It was we were talking to Ray. So like every week, like I said, I think we ended up doing like 45 of these cover songs
right.
in over the course of a year. And every week we, when we'd have a different guest on for an interview segment, and we would talk to them about what cover song we wanted to do. And sometimes we had an idea and pitched it to them, and sometimes they had an idea and pitched it to us. Well, we were talking to Ray, and initially I think we suggested "I Am the Walrus" by the Beatles, which I think would have been really cool. But he's like, I don't know. He's like, man, I don't know. That song's got a lot of words, and I don't know. He's like, what about Papa Was a Rolling Stone? And I was at first I just was like, man, that's cool, but that's going to be weird.
Yeah.
Like it's because it's such a specifically vocal heavy song with a lot of harmonies, which isn't necessarily a problem, but it's a very stylized kind of track. But it's like, okay, that's kind of cool, Ray. Well, let's see what we can do with that. And then I was talking to the guys in the band, and I said, hey, like we got to do something a little different with this one. A lot of the covers we stuck pretty close to the original, but I was like, man, we can't really do this song properly, like as it is the way, like in our configuration, the way we're set up, But
right.
what can we do with it? And I was sort of like, what if like Tony Joe White did Papa Was a Rolling Stone? What if we got that real kind of swampy groove, just propulsive thing going? Because I think like Ray Wiley can slide right into that.
Oh yeah.
And do his thing over it, and we can find a good thing to do with it. So that was kind of it. And as soon as we unlocked that, it was just like, oh, this is gonna be really cool.
Yeah.
And then what was really fun about these is like everyone was doing their parts remotely. So like I might get a track from Richard, our drummer, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to put my part down now. And then, so we kind of stack these parts, and you could go in and listen to what everyone was doing, like literally isolating those tracks. And I got Ray Wiley's vocal track, and I just listened to it, and I was like, man, this is awesome. It was so cool. And then, like Monday, the show was on Tuesday, so like Monday and Tuesday morning, we would spend getting all the tracks, compiled and mixed into a master recording, and it was really fun and really cool to see these things come together so quickly every week.
Well, it sounds good. I love it. Of course, I'm a big Ray Wiley Hubbard fan anyway, and
Me too.
Yeah, he was Matt King. I don't know if you know Matt King. They just released a song a couple of months ago that they done. But anyway, Ed, we have got to get to a break, man. But I sure do appreciate your time. Now, you're in Texas now, or where are you living at now?
I live in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, well, you're not far from us. You're up in Asheville, so yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's a good place. Yep.
Yeah, man.
We'll have to go over there to the what's that big old house up there that's got all the what is
the
it?
Biltmore.
Yeah, we got to go check that out for Christmas. You go check that out for Christmas.
I haven't been for Christmas, but I've been a few times. It's a pretty cool experience to go check that place out.
Yeah, Asheville's a good place to be, no doubt about it. So, okay, any more contact? Okay, you've got several different websites that you got. So, what would be the best way for these people to follow you? And
bandofheathens.com and triggerhippie.com. Make sure you check out the new Band of Heathens single, Tumbling Dice, today on Spotify and Apple Music, all the streaming services. And bandofheathens.com. You can get yourself a new copy of the record. I think the pre-sales start today. So check it out. We appreciate it, man.
Hey, we're going to keep up with you, and I sure do appreciate your time, man. Love y'all's music. Just keep on putting it out there, brother.
Thanks, brother. We appreciate you.
All right, you take care. Thank you for spending a little time with us. And remember, you can tune in every morning at WJULradio.com at 8 a.m. Eastern. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook, The Morning Dish.